Alright, welcome back everyone, it is LaughNgamez here, and today we're back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay. Today we have ourselves a Protoss versus Protoss on the map Ruins of Endion between two North American players. So without further ado, we have Psystorm's PiLiPiLi spawning down in the bottom right as the red Protoss, and in the bottom left we have puCK as the green Protoss. So today we have ourselves a PvP on one of the newer-ish maps. It is Ruins of Endion. It is the close but far, so players are very close, but there's lots of obstacles in the way to actually get to each other. Now, since this is a Protoss versus Protoss, really we can see either aggression or late game. It's one of the mirror matchups that tend to go to the more late game tech if you count disruptors as late game. And there has actually been a patch that affects Protoss with the Immortals, so we can actually see some heavy aggression coming out, maybe with some Blink Stalkers we'll possibly see. So really, I guess the only thing to do is to wait and see how these players decide their builds. Both players getting that quick gas before expansion. Right now just PiLiPiLi saturating his gas to the max, meanwhile puCK is slower to saturate his gas, so so they both want to go for that tech here, but it seems PiLiPiLi wants to tech faster, and for now both players are actually just opening up with a double gateway, however, which is great for both. This is a very common opening. It's great for defense because chances are your opponent's opening up with double gateway, so it's likely going to be either double adept or double stalkers out of one or both of these players. Meanwhile though, puCK has actually been moving in with a probe to scout what PiLiPiLi is going for, so he knows exactly what PiLiPiLi is going for. He sees the double gates, the double gas. Meanwhile, PiLiPiLi has not elected to send in that scouting probe. So puCK has the sort of knowledge advantage here for the small commitment of a bit of worker mining time. Now this is where we see things start to differentiate. We have the two adepts out of PiLiPiLi, which usually means he wants to poke in and try to get some damage done with these adepts. But puCK scouted this, and he's opening with the safer option of two stalkers, which you won't necessarily poke in as far, but you can do some you're very solid in your defense. So really shutting down anything PiLiPiLi goes for. So we see these two adepts shading out, moving across the map for PiLiPiLi. They're going to try to shade past these stalkers, which are actually moving out for puCK to try to catch these adepts, but here we see PiLiPiLi secured that watchtower for a short period of time, so now he's just shaded past these stalkers, and these groups of units just passed each other like ships in the night, I guess. So puCK is now moving out. This isn't exactly as common to push in with the stalkers here, as the adepts are known to get more damage done here. So PiLiPiLi moving in with these adepts, managing to pick off quite a few probes here. These two adepts managed to two-shot units. Meanwhile, all puCK really can do is try to push at the front, as PiLiPiLi's gotten out two of his own stalkers, and he's now forcing back the stalkers of puCK. So that worked out great for PiLiPiLi. He killed off 5 workers there, and he's now in a great position, really economically. Well, he's got a lead. However, puCK did go for this quicker nexus here, as he went for this quicker nexus, so he is going to have a slight lead in that edge. But PiLiPiLi up at 26 workers to 20, so he's got a bit of an economic advantage. He also got a full scout with that, so he saw that there was no Stargate or anything coming out. And meanwhile, PiLiPiLi went for his own Stargate, which was not scouted by puCK, so it's moving across the map. However, puCK sees this with his mothership core that was pushing out across the map, so puCK's going to know, okay, I'm going to need to warp in stalkers and keep them back to scare off this Oracle, and he's got 3 stalkers already out, transforming warp gates, so he might warp in more, but these 3 stalkers are enough to push it back. The mothership core should be on its way back, however, it's sort of just been sitting there for puCK after getting that critical scouting information. However, this Oracle being moved over these stalkers here, taking a bit of damage for PiLiPiLi without getting a single kill. And now we see this is where puCK is deciding his build. He's throwing down a Twilight Council and getting a Warp Prism. This likely means he's going to be going for Blink, which this is what puCK is known for. The green Protoss is known for this Blink heavy style. Meanwhile, PiLiPiLi now getting the Robotics Bay. He's gone for he's actually made 2 Oracles now, so he is going to try to get some damage done, but it seems he wants to know exactly what's going on, so he's going to use the Oracle Revelation ability likely, and well, there he managed to pick off one probe, so he's gotten one probe for these 2 oracles. However, if he keeps these oracles alive, they always have utility in the game, so it's not necessarily like a dead weight, just maybe not as much damage done as PiLiPiLi hoped. Anyway, as we actually just saw now, PiLiPiLi throwing up a stasis ward at the third base of puCK, so he's, for one, going to know when puCK goes to try and take that, and it might also delay it a bit, which can be very critical. Now, these oracles still moving around, trying to get any damage done possible. Meanwhile, puCK going for that blink as expected. He's not actually chronoing it out though, so he's not going for a super blink rush by all means. And he's now got out a observer in case of DTs, I guess. Meanwhile, puCK has moved out with a warp prism. He's had loaded up 2 adepts in there. Did he get any kills? Oh, he actually managed to kill off 4 workers there, which is very good for puCK. See, these adepts, they're so tanky, so they can sort of sit in the face of danger and try to get any damage done. And it takes units a while to kill them off, so that's how puCK managed to get 4 workers killed there. And he's got this warp prism, which is so great for harassment. He can continuously try to poke in. However, now PiLiPiLi making use of this Stargate he invested in earlier, and is getting out just the 1 Phoenix to hold this off. And oh, this is actually so cool. He's making these oracles, which are going to chase down the adepts here. And puCK actually just unloaded 1, so it could move out and try to get a scout, I guess. But this warp prism is going to go down, and this 1 Phoenix has done a great job here. So now we see both these players, neither of them really going for a big attack. However, now puCK is throwing up 3 gateways. He's not really going for anything else, so it is likely going to be a big blink attack coming out of puCK here. He's only been warping in blink stalkers. So now, we see PiLiPiLi though, however, opting to be the more macro-oriented player and is going for an expansion here. That adept could have cancelled it, but it actually shaded out to try and get off 1 probe kill, and it managed to get that. So right now we see PiLiPiLi going to be the more economic player in this Protoss versus Protoss, but now we actually see a third base has gone down for puCK too. That stasis ward, not sure if it delayed it or not. Now, as I said earlier, PiLiPiLi going for that revelation to know exactly what puCK is going for. Now, an observer, when it's revealed, actually really get to see what they look like here, since they're, you know, not cloaked with all that shimmering around them. Now, PiLiPiLi gonna want to knock down this rock tower to secure his position. puCK did that a long time ago, so this game is actually gonna go much later than puCK was sort of leading it to believe. I guess he decided against doing a blink all-in. But for now, we actually see PiLiPiLi with just a slight supply lead, and I think PiLiPiLi actually has quite an army lead here. Although Immortals recently had their shield nerfed, they only protect 100 shield. Their barrier only protects them from 100 damage, I believe. Now, so that means these Immortals for PiLiPiLi are not going to be as effective, but Immortals are still such a strong unit, particularly against the mass blink stalkers puCK has. Now we actually see here PiLiPiLi moving in with these oracles, managing to pick off quite a few probes there. However, they do end up wow, this one actually escaped. So throwing in a revelation, seeing where these stalkers are, but so close, puCK trying to blink to get it. So trading out that 1 oracle and almost losing the second to get a few probe kills, which is arguably worth it. He managed to keep this one alive, so he will be able to do revelations later on. And now PiLiPiLi getting up plenty of his own gateways here. So this is going to quite a late PvP, and now we see PiLiPiLi is just slightly leading in the Protoss upgrades here. We'll see whether he starts another upgrade right away after it. And now we're actually seeing right now, we're seeing PiLiPiLi going for a Templar Archives and plenty of gateways, so he's going to be relying on these Immortals and Archons he's been making. Meanwhile, puCK has opted for a second robotics facility. He's gotten a robotics bay, so he's going to be making disruptors, and puCK is known as a player who really likes disruptors and warp prisms, so he can move them around, try to get off fancy drops. And now we're actually seeing a dark shrine going up for puCK. These players are both really getting as much tech as possible. Now we see a scouted hallucinated Phoenix for puCK, actually seeing what PiLiPiLi was going for. And now we see PiLiPiLi moving out. He's got such a strong army. He might want to go for an attack, and he knows puCK has mainly been on blink stalkers and is behind on army supply. So now puCK started to build up his own immortal count, but these disruptors are going to be out in a second for puCK, and it's hard for a Protoss to split this sort of army. PiLiPiLi got charged, by the way, so he's been going for this immortal charge a lot Archon style, and he's now going to try to break through. However, this one disruptor for puCK is out, and it's going to throw down a disruptor right, and it is going to connect and kill off 8 units there. And these are Protoss units. These are expensive units that he just killed off, and that just evened up the army supplies here. PiLiPiLi going to warp in another Zealot and some High Templar to morph in more Archons, which are not so susceptible to this disruptor, but this disruptor's shot is already off cooldown, so he's able to fire another, and this is now a great position for puCK. He's producing 2 disruptors at a time, and PiLiPiLi is getting an upgrade attack lead, but doesn't really matter when your entire army is going down to these death balls that the disruptors throw. Now 4 disruptors for puCK, all throwing out disruption rays, not getting the best connections. They're hitting the Immortals and not the Zealots in the front. And now it seems that these Zealots are actually connecting with a few of the disruptors, so those are going down. This one disruptor is going to suicide on itself, but it actually does not get killed by its own disruption ray there. So, but it seems, and it definitely seems now that puCK has managed to hold this attack from PiLiPiLi. He's got PiLiPiLi still with the Archons and Immortals pushing up, and puCK sort of backed into a wall here, but he does have the high ground here. He's actually warped in Dark Templar, and there is no observer for PiLiPiLi. He might have had one, but if there was, puCK managed to kill it off. So now PiLiPiLi going to be forced back here. He knows there's DTs hacking away at him, so he's going to try to micro away with this warp prism to do anything he can. He's now chrono boosting out an observer to get it across the map. However, this one DT is going to do so much damage in the meantime. Swiping away. This DT is already up to 2 kills, which once again are Protoss units. These are expensive kills, as Protoss units are very, very costly. So now we see more disruptors coming up from puCK. How many disruptors does he have here? He's got 5. That is enough to kill so many units for PiLiPiLi, assuming PiLiPiLi gets good dodgers. However, PiLiPiLi invested in charge. He did not invest in Blink, so he can't make Blink Stalkers to dodge these disruptor shots. And now we see puCK's taken the economic lead. He's getting up a 4th base sooner than PiLiPiLi. He's got a superior army lead. The only thing that PiLiPiLi really has going for him is this increase in attack upgrades. However, that doesn't mean too much when you're fighting up against disruptors here. And now we see puCK just throwing out lots of these disruptors here. PiLiPiLi actually doing some really cute micro with the warp prism to pick up his units. However, he's warping in more Zealots now, and he's going to go in for another attack after a lot of these disruptors did fire their shots, so they're still on cooldown. However, they are going to be coming off cooldown in a second now. And PiLiPiLi pushes forward as puCK pushes back, shooting his own disruptor here, but managed to take out a lot of Zealots with it. PiLiPiLi now down to 1 Archon and Zealots. However, well, 1 Immortal and Zealots. However, puCK using these disruptors to great efficiency. He does also have his own warp gate, so he's warping in lots of Stalkers as reinforcements, which are not terrible versus these Archons and Zealots. And now puCK up to... Army supplies are even, however, here, so PiLiPiLi is managing to surprisingly push in here. There is only 3 disruptors left. However, this is such a great connection. It kills off so many Zealots. There are like almost 20 army supply dropped for PiLiPiLi, and now he's being forced back by these Blink Stalkers, which are now forcing PiLiPiLi to ultimately retreat. Now, puCK is now ahead in army supply. He's ahead in workers' economy. PiLiPiLi getting up his own 4th base now. However, he is not mining off. Well, both players aren't really mining off, but puCK is now transferring probes here. And once again, puCK still with the superior army composition. He's gonna have even upgrades for a short amount of time. But really, he's still just building this disruptor count, which is going to be so effective for him. PiLiPiLi has, however, surprisingly managed to deal with these disruptors and not just straight out die to them, even though there has been some great connections. Now, puCK, with these Blink Stalkers, managed to pick off transferring probes, so he says, okay, these probes are now moving. I'm going to knock down these rocks, and I'm moving to kill off that 4th base of yours. And PiLiPiLi is going to know this, and he's going to be thinking, oh dear, I am in trouble as this huge warping for puCK now comes out. puCK is committing very heavily to these Blink Stalkers, as he knows he's killed off PiLiPiLi's Immortal count, so they're not going to be completely nullified by a large count of Immortals. And now puCK killing off that 4th base for PiLiPiLi now knows he's in a great position, and PiLiPiLi has now moved in with 2 Immortals and a Warp Prism to try and get any damage, counter damage he does done. However, we see Blink Stalkers for puCK moving and picking off this Warp Prism, so now these 2 Immortals are stranded. They're going to try to get any damage they can done. However, quite a lot of Stalkers are going to be warped in here. However, these Immortals are actually doing a great job picking them off, but here comes the death sentence for these Immortals. 2 Disruptors moving and picking off one of them instantly. However, these Immortals are actually getting great trades here. They managed to kill off, what, 4 Stalkers and a Disruptor there for 2 Immortals and a Prism? Arguably not worth it. However, considering the situation he was in, that was a great trade for PiLiPiLi. And now we see the army supplies have managed to sort of catch back up. PiLiPiLi, however, is down in workers though, and he is starting to mine out without that 4th base. So it seems PiLiPiLi might just be going for one big last hurrah. He's moving out across the map. He's got 3 observers. He does not want to be taken out by DTs here. And PiLiPiLi's army composition is quite good here. He does have lots of zealots, which are susceptible to these disruptors. However, Archons are not. So we now see how many zealots this is for PiLiPiLi. 23 zealots versus 27 Blinkstalkers. If they manage to get on top of this army, they will be very effective. However, disruptors for puCK are going to be continuously shooting out shots to try and kill off large clumps of these zealots, which do clump together. So now PiLiPiLi moving into the final attack, charging up a ramp, which is almost so suicidal as these disruptors are now throwing out so many shots, getting great connections, shaving off the Archons, shaving off lots of zealots. However, PiLiPiLi's army still pushing forward here. The disruptors are firing more shots, another great connection for puCK as he manages to clean up the last of the zealots. Now it's just Archons pushing into a choke point, which is not working out for PiLiPiLi, and GG is going to be called here as puCK manages to take the game with his superior unit composition. He managed to do a great job getting great disruptor shots, which managed to hold off the attacks of PiLiPiLi, and ultimately killing off that force base, which forced PiLiPiLi's hand into an all-in. So thank you guys for watching. I know I'm not necessarily the most knowledgeable Protoss versus Protoss caster, as I don't necessarily play a lot of Protoss myself. However, I think I have a decent enough idea of what's going on. So anyway, once again, thank you for watching. If you have any feedback, leave it below, and make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So see you next time.